I am not winning, folks. I am not winning. Okay. Alright, okay. Alrighty. So, to give some context, right? Um, Frickin' Alright, first off, everything's still good, and everything, right? Everything's still fine, except for the state of gaming. Not only that, I seem to be squeezing my PC thin or something, I guess now. I don't know what's going on. I already did this before, like this vlog and everything, but, oh, jeez. Alright, so what's, going on here, and what's mainly got me, flustered and frustrated, is God, excuse me. What mainly got me frustrated is Mafia the Old Country. Now, if you folks, obviously know and everything, and I said it here before on the channel here and everything, that I am a gamer first and foremost and a reader second. My main hobby is games, my main passion is video games. Ever since I was like 7 years old, I've been a huge fan of video games. I love video games very much so. I also love old historical stuff, not just like Assassin's Creed stuff or whatever, but also early 19th century stuff. I love that stuff, stuff set in like, like Red Dead Redemption or the Mafia series, I love that stuff, very much. I find that stuff very interesting, especially over the past century, that really intrigues me, that really entices me. I love old music now and everything. Music from like the 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s to some extent or whatever, you know. I think that's why I'm partially such a huge fan of The Caretaker and Dante Timberwolf, where they use, old music samples and stuff and everything. I'm really enticed on all of that stuff, of oldie stuff from like the 20s to 50s. I eat that stuff up because I am kind of an old soul that way. So, get this. I was trying to play Mafia the Old Country, but I ran into some issues. And I know it's already been a month or so since the game came out, but still, it's ridiculous. And especially with how powerful my PC is, it should be able to play Mafia just fine. But no, we gotta have green screens, we gotta have seizures for my computer, and we gotta have all this other stuff. To give you an idea of just how powerful my PC is, and I don't normally try to say this or flex on this or whatever because I hate flexing and I hate just throwing out my PC status. Like, yeah, I got da da da, whatever, like it's some sports car or some crap. I hate doing that stuff. But just to give you an idea, right? My CPU is an 8-core processor with 16 threads. And not only that, my GPU, my graphics card, is an RT 7900 XT, I think something like that, AMD. The VRAM in this guy is freaking 20 gigabytes, not 12, 20. Not yeah, 20 gigabytes of VRAM. I look over at the settings in Mafia the Old Country. Even at low settings, even at even at like, potato settings, dog shit settings, it's only taken like 1/8 of my VRAM total because it's like at 250, 2.8, almost 3 gigabytes of VRAM. That's it. And you know what else? I can play, just as demonstration purposes, right? I can play Assassin's Creed Shadows. Yeah, I know, controversy, whatever, of the game, whatever, blah, blah, blah. I personally find the game's fun to me. I honestly enjoy that game. I don't care much for the story, whatever. The gameplay's, it's fun. The gameplay's enjoyable. Guess what? I can play that game at super low settings, even though that game's super damn demanding because it takes up over a quarter of my total VRAM. It takes up like four. It takes up like four 4.8 gigs, gigabytes of RAM, VRAM and stuff, I can play that game, and that game just can be a smooth breeze for like straight up 8 hours. So why is it that when I try to play a historical game, a walking sim, from what I've heard, but I try to avoid spoilers and stuff. That's mainly just basic, gameplay and main cutscenes and everything at super low settings. That's only eating up, only 1/8 of my VRAM. I still get my computer to go through seizures because the devs, they gotta freaking do the patches and stuff even a month later. It's super discouraging, folks, and it's maddening. And I I know you folks are mainly here for the horror stuff, right? If not the AUs, at least some horror stuff to an extent. But I've been trying to add more, action based stuff, because I love action as much as I love horror, and to add variety to this channel here and everything. And since I got something tomorrow that I'm gonna do, I figured to upload it tonight or try to get it uploaded tonight and set schedule for you folks to see tomorrow, but that's not gonna really happen now because freaking we're doing this instead. It's just it's just disheartening and maddening to me, folks. Well, gaming's gone to the point to where we need to wait months or even up to a year or so before a game can finally be finished. And it's not like I'm complaining that a game needs to be complete on the day it's released, because stuff is bound to happen, a slip up here and there. So I don't really care if there's like first day patch or a first week or whatever. But like when you start getting to a months later, that just gets a pretty bit discouraging there, folks. It's the same thing. The same thing happened with Spider-Man 2, right? Another game that I want to showcase to you folks and play for you all here and everything. That game's probably done by now, hoping at least, fingers crossed, because I've heard that game had a horrible port, to PC and everything. And I've been waiting over 4 months now for that game to finally get fully cooked, and I think it's finally cooked and ready to eat, if you will. But with Mafia here, the old country, after a month later, it's just, I don't know, it's just discouraging. And I know some of you may say, "Oh, well, just wait a couple months, just keep waiting, it'll get done eventually." And yeah, it would, but I'm sick of waiting. And I'm not trying to be like a demanding, like it needs to be done now, but like it's just disheartening to know that you're gonna have to wait months later before a game then is now finished. Now you can play it. And I don't really get into games that much anymore, especially in this day and age, because I don't really care much for, the games that I see and stuff. I'm just not as interested, so much. But when I saw Mafia, I was like, okay, cool, whatever. And I specifically waited a month in advance, a month later in advance, because I had the expected feeling, yep, we're gonna have issues and stuff, And next thing I know, I go to do it tonight and this evening, and I'm already having this, even at low settings. Even with my juggernaut of a PC that I have and stuff. It's just discouraging, folks, And I'm not trying to flex on my PC saying like how powerful it is and stuff to be like, look at me, type of deal. But like if my PC is powerful as it is, and it's already going through this of Mafia, just think of the, other type of stuff, other gamers who don't have as powerful of a computer. How are they going to be able to handle through, this type of stuff or whatever? it's just disheartening, and it's just really discouraging, folks, because I love gaming, and I want to do something more than just horror content. I like to branch out from time to time and to have a variety stuff and everything, and it just really sucks how gaming's become normalized to this kind of extended endpoint to, well, we need to wait months later before a game is actually fixed up and everything. It just, that's the one biggest downfall that I will take from the one biggest con from modern gaming. I love digital copies and stuff because I have like over what 400 or so and a half games on my Steam. I'm not gonna have a freaking library of game cases, over here in my room or whatever, because that's just a lot. So it is nice to have it all on my PC here, and how I can install and uninstall it anytime I do like DLC, because downloadable content, is fun, free or paid, whatever here and stuff, and how I can choose. Like, okay, they're saying this one's bad, but this one's good. I kind of like that idea and everything, and that sort of variety and everything. And I don't care much for like patches, like first day patch, first week patch, because it's like that's kind of bound to happen. So I'm not mad at that. I'm not discouraged with that. What I am discouraged with is how it's gonna take months later before a game's fully finished. You folks remember Cyberpunk? That freaking, oh man, yeah, Project Red, CD Project Red or whatever. Yeah, the same makers that did the Witcher series, and how that game took at least 2 years to get it, stable enough to where you not only can you play the game, but it's kind of redeemed in a way. And I'm not saying all games are, exactly like that or whatever, but it's just so tiring and disheartening how every time a new game comes out, or every time I see a trailer, especially for a game that I'm interested in and that I'm actually curious to see, is that I have the back of my mind wondering now, this when they say August, they really mean November, or when they say January, they're really meaning June or whatever, because it's just, and it's not like I can't get it, and I can wait, but still, it's just like, I don't want to wait. I don't mind waiting, but I'm getting tired of waiting, you know? Because it wasn't like this before, back in the golden days with CDs or whatever. But it's just really discouraging. And I guess I'm just having kind of a discouraging day, overall here and stuff. And it's the fact that I've tried to get something in and it just didn't work out here and stuff. It's just, I don't know. I normally I don't like making videos like this, honestly, because I like to make fun content and stuff that I enjoy and stuff that I'm looking forward to and that I'm excited on and everything. But the fact that I'm having, this stuff here with how beefed up my PC is, it's just discouraging and disheartening overall, folks, And I, I want to get what I pay for, and I really don't care how long it takes, but I hate having to wait. I hate, it's like going over to a pizzeria place, right? And it just feels like whenever I open up the game, right, and I come across issues or a crash or whatever, it's like I'm waiting at my table and I finally walk up, go over to the counter and say, how much longer it's gonna take? And stuff, and the cook's like almost done or da 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 whatever. It just feels like I'm just waiting, and I don't mind it, but it's just discouraging. And I just miss the days where I could know that when they bring out the pizza to me, in a way, in a sense, I just miss the days when they would bring out the pizza that I know it's fully cooked. Yes, there's a little bit of imperfection here and there, still a little bit doughy, but it's mostly overall good. I can brush all of that because I got what I paid for. I walked up over to the counter. I said, in a sense, I would like a pepperoni and cheese pizza, please. Maybe some ham, some blah, 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 whatever, type of deal. And knowing that I got exactly what I paid for, in a sense, or what I ordered, in a way. And I guess now it just feels like I'm just kind of wondering or debating if they're bringing it out the second or third time now. Is it actually going to be cooked now? Is the pizza actually going to be done? Can I have it now? Can I have a slice now, please? I would like a slice. That's what it feels like now. Where it's like the chef cook whatever brings out the pizza, and it's like I take it, or they see something like, oh wait, let me take it back, let me put it in the oven, for you, just 5 more minutes. That's what it feels like with gaming now for me, in a sense. Especially with new titles and stuff now. And it's like, and I'm just sitting there wondering, is the pizza going to be done this time around, or am I just going to have to wait 10 more minutes, 20 more minutes? It's just discouraging, and it just hurts me in a way, honestly. And I know, obviously, the game will be fixed eventually later this year or whatever, but it's not about later, it's about now. And it's about expectation too and everything. Like I said, I've waited over a month in specific because I had the expectation that it was buggy here and stuff and everything, and I'm still having a bit of issues. It's other than this discouraging thing and this disheartening thing, I'm overall doing okay. It just discourages me because I have some other plans for tomorrow here and everything, where I'm gonna be away from my computer and stuff, because I like to get into the outdoors and do activities here and stuff. And I try to do this one step, two-step thing, or I record the previous day, I record today, and then I upload it for you folks tomorrow. That type of deal. That was my original plan, but since we're having issues, we gotta go through technical bullshit because the devs, the chefs, can't fully cook a pizza in a way. Now I gotta wait for the pizza to actually be fully cooked, quote, in a sense. You know, and the only main reason I pointed out my PC buffness and stuff and everything is to kind of showcase that, like, even if my PC, who's built like a freaking skulldozer from Payday 2 now, the bulldozer, freaking tank cop or whatever in a sense, if it can't go through this and it has issues, what about the other folks who don't have as high end PCs or whatever that, that may go through this stuff, kind of showcasing it here. But yeah, anyway, I'm just gonna ramble on here and stuff. I still have, other plans here and stuff and everything. I might have something for you folks this weekend before I work again or whatever. But yeah, it's just overall disheartening and discouraging with how gaming's, become now today and everything. As much as I love games and everything, it's just not the freaking same, folks. It's really not, and the fact that we have this at the back of my mind, at least I do, for 90% of the time whenever I see, I don't know, the PlayStation upcoming games or Xbox or, whatever, the whole big event live stream type thing of new games coming out eventually at some point, or a teaser trailer or whatever, just small snippet. I always live at the back of my mind thinking, the pizza's not going to be done, is it? When they say the pizza is going to be done by this said time, it's not going to be done by that said time. And they're just going to have to put it back in, throw in the quote patches, cook it in the oven per se. And it's just a bit discouraging. And I just kind of miss the days when I can wait a bit and kind of have more of a confidence knowing that, okay, now the pizza's fully cooked. Now the game's ready. It sucks. But that's all I have to say for this video here, folks, and everything, and that's all there really is to it. I just wanted to vent on this to you folks, and let you folks know my frustration with gaming today. So with all that being said and out of the way, thank you folks all so much for watching. Don't forget to leave a like, leave a comment, hit subscribe for more, turn on notifications so you folks don't miss out on a future video or post that I make in the future, and that you can always be kept up to date. And lastly, if you have any requests or suggestions, tell me down in the comments. Alright, that's all for now, and I will see you all sooner or later.